This is going to be the last time I ask you this question for this year. What are you doing? Hello, I am your host, Chad Stanton, and on this show, it's not about me and what I'm making in my shop, but what you are making in your shop. Now, I know the end of the year is coming up real fast, so this is going to be the last episode of What Are You Doing for 2018. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We got kind of a short list this week, but nonetheless, we got some good stuff for you. So, starting off is with Tim Fuller. Now, if you remember last week, Tim actually ended and wrapped up the show, and he had that beautiful clock that he was making. Well, Tim is quite an accomplished woodworker, and besides making clocks and tables, he makes several of these rocking chairs. And I think he's had the privilege of selling 8 of them to customers over the years. But this one here, he said this one is his personal rocking chair that he keeps in the shop. He calls it his thinking chair, that when he has to sit down and kind of contemplate a problem that he's doing in woodworking, he'll sit in that chair and get some inspiration. Myself, that looks so comfortable, I think if I sat in it, I wouldn't go back to work. At any rate, thanks for sending that in to us, Tim. David Bishop, over there at One-Eyed Woody. David made something that I really liked. He made this squirrel feeder, and I thought it was pretty comical. You can see it's got the 2 chairs and the table in the middle. I imagine you would put the ear of corn right in the middle of that and have the squirrel sitting at it eating. I thought it was pretty funny. David said he hasn't had any luck with the squirrels coming out to it yet, but I'm sure it won't take long. So thanks for that great idea, David. I really, really like that one. Willie Cortez. Willie actually has a couple of things for us this week. Willie has some old hand planes, and his recent one is this rabbit plane. Now, I have a Stanley 78 version of this. I believe this is a Craftsman hand plane. And so you can see that he took it, it was all rusted up. He cleaned it up, sharpened the blade, tuned it up, and now that is going into his collection. And I know Willie uses the hand planes as well as he's restoring them. I think that particular hand plane is essential. I think it's really important for woodworkers to have in their collection, whether it's the Craftsman version or the Stanley version. But besides restoring the tools, he's made a couple of things for the holidays. He made these snowmen, or snowman and woman. I imagine those will probably go out in the yard or on the house. And so I asked Willie, I said, where you live, how much snow do you got? And he said, none. It's just been raining. So, well, hey, maybe next year, right? Thanks, Willie. Stephane Chatput. Stephen has a son who's a mechanic, and he has a rather large toolbox. And if you're not familiar with the mechanic-sized toolboxes, they are huge. They look like a caboose off of a train. Anyhow, the top of the work surface of the tool bench is flat, and so Stephen saw some wood that was thrown out. It was on the roadside curb there, and it came from a tree house. And he stopped and he said, you know what, I'm going to take that, and he's making a butcher block type of, I guess, a really large cutting board or almost countertop that's going to be able to sit on top of his son's toolbox for him to put tools or do some work on it. So, as always, I think it's great he was able to see something that was going to go to the salvage yard and save it and turn it into a nice gift for his son. So thank you for that. Tom Bertino. Tom is working really hard at trying to get this gift done by Christmas time. It's for his first grandchild, and he's making a rocking horse, but it's not actually a rocking horse. It's a motorcycle. So here it is a little bit further along. It's looking really good. I think he's going to be under the gun, though, to get this finished. I think Tom even said he had to work out of town this past week, so he hasn't had much time to get back to it. But either way, it's really looking cool. I'm anxious to see it all buttoned up and the paint job and everything, so thank you, Tom. Joel Stanfill. Joel is new to the show. This is the first time sending some stuff in. And unfortunately, Joel is sending in something that is kind of on a sad note. His mother-in-law this month, December 1st, passed away. And he said that she was such a good lady. I'm sure the whole family is still grieving over it. But Joel made the urn box for her ashes to be put in it. And he made it out of sapelli and some spalted maple. And I was trying to tell Joel that it's a very thoughtful gift. It's a very gift that'll be honored, by the family. I'm sure the mother-in-law would be pleased over the effort. It's a sad time for all of them, but I think the gesture of what he did was really, really thoughtful. So thanks for sending that in, Joel, and I hope you and the whole family are okay getting through the holidays. Dan Gray. Dan, I believe, is also new to the show. And Dan, he's got a small shop, but he's trying to utilize the space that he has. I think he says he has to share the shop with his wife's car. But he made a dust collection system for himself. And I think he said he got the idea from a couple of things he saw online, customized it for himself. And once again, he found on the roadside, just like Stephen did, he found on the roadside like this large cabinet door and was able to take that and turn it into the cart that he can move his dust collection system around. So, as always, someone else's trash is another man's treasure, and some inspiration that we take from things online, and being creative, we can come up with a whole bunch of things there. So thanks for sending that in, Dan. Jeff Burton. Jeff is a friend of mine that I've been able to talk with through the show here and emails, and Jeff's been pretty busy here lately. He does heating and air for a living, and I imagine with the winter season upon us, he is probably in demand. But he's trying to make some dominoes for his parents. And so you can see here that he's laid out the lines, he's been drilling out the little holes on it, and I think he said he's going to be putting some brass inserts in each one of the holes there, because he says his parents are just die-hard fanatics about it. And what was interesting to Jeff was, he said that it's pretty crucial, the size, the thickness, the overall dimensions of these dominoes. He never really gave it much thought prior to working on this gift, but there are specific sizes to these. So, see, we're learning something new every day. So thanks, Jeff, and I'll be curious to see how they ended up and how your parents enjoy them. Eugene Marcha. Eugene is trying to make some gifts for the holidays, and he went to Woodcraft and he got the coffee grinder, and so he's making these little boxes underneath it, I imagine, so you can grind yourself a single cup of coffee, gourmet coffee. And so he's making some of these gifts to give out to family and friends. And yeah, it's pretty neat. Actually, I have one myself. I bought it at a craft show that I had seen in Dayton. And we don't really use it much, but we just love how it looks sitting on the shelf in the kitchen. I love coffee. My wife loves coffee. So it's just kind of a nice little thing. And I'm sure, Eugene, everyone's going to be thrilled with that gift when you give it to them. Hopefully I didn't spoil the surprise. Alan, if you've been watching the show the last couple of weeks, Alan is working in probably the world's smallest shop. It's 12 foot by 3 foot. He's over there in South Korea. And he is making this entertainment center, or a TV console. in that small space. He's doing it out of some, looks like white oak. And he's doing it all with hand tools, obviously, because you wouldn't have the space in such a small place for any kind of power tool. But what I think is really, really inspiring of this, not only does it look good, and his craftsmanship is good because it's all hand tools and joinery there, but it's amazing what people can create in a small space. And as you can see from the project, it's not a little project. The project is pretty much taking up all of his shop space there. So it's pretty inspiring to see, and after seeing what Alan's doing, I will never complain about my tools or the lack of tools or the lack of space ever again. So thanks for sending that in, Alan. And wrapping up this week's entry is George Wilmore. George said that he had some small scrap pieces of wood, and so he decided just to make boxes. He says everybody loves boxes. They're always a great thing if last minute you need to have a gift for someone. So he made a bandsaw box out of cedar, and he made these other boxes out of walnut and bird's eye maple. And I was telling George that my wife just loves boxes. I mean, she has boxes all over the place. Nothing really in them. For some reason, she just likes to, I guess, collect boxes. So definitely you can't go wrong with that as a gift, George. All right, that's it. Like I said, it was a short episode this week, mostly because the end of the year is here. Everyone's getting busy with family and friends. Maybe some are burning up some vacation time from their job. But whatever it is, I definitely want to say, for 2018, it's been a very enjoyable year for me to see what all of you are making, to be inspired and to inspire others. Thank you so much for sending your entries. And I probably won't have a video on Wednesday for After Hours Woodworking, but for Friday, I'm going to have part 2 of that woodworking angles, building a chair video. In the first video that was out last week, I showed you how to figure out the 4 different angles. And then this Friday, I'm going to show you how to precisionally drill those holes in the seat so that all those angles come out just right for you. So, as always, thanks for watching. And let's finish up this year with To Keep On Dancing.